Okay, so, random video, but I recently, beat Spongebob and the Cosmic Shake. As you can see, I'm playing that right now. And, I thought the game was pretty good. The Cosmic Shake, a serviceable SpongeBob romp through the funny-named town. I had fun. I don't think it's better or surpasses Battle for Bikini Bottom, but, you know, it was good. But that's not what this video is about. This video, I wanted to talk about the game's boss fights. Because the bosses in this game are by far the most disappointing part of the game for me. Because, you know, Battle for Bikini Bottom had some really solid boss fights. Some really cool ones. You know, they weren't like the most insane things out there, but I enjoyed them. They were fun. But this game, you know, there's 3 bosses in particular I wanted to, I guess, rant about, because I just wouldn't really consider them boss fights. It's just, they're so disappointing, and I just wouldn't consider them boss fights. And I thought of, like, ideas on how to actually have them be a boss fight, and I just thought it would be like a fun little video where I just like rant about stuff. So let's do that with the very first boss fight in the game being Mr. Krabs, if we can find him. So Mr. Krabs is the first boss fight you fight in the game, and it's not really a boss fight. All it is, let's see if we can't get to him and you'll see what I mean, in case you haven't played the game yourself. So, all it is, it's just a platforming thing. There's this, so you go here, so you go up in this elevator, woohoo. We can skip the cutscenes. Loading. You know how it is. So, Mr. Krabs' fight isn't actually a fight. You never actually fight Mr. Krabs directly. All it is, it's just like a platforming challenge across a train. You know, Uncharted style. But that's not a fight. Platforming is not a fight. And of course you do have like this part, which is a serviceable opening to the, you know, the game, or I guess the introduction to the fight, but like, after that, the actual boss itself is just a platforming on like this train once you catch up to it, and that's just not a boss fight. Like, it's just not. That's just what I've been doing throughout the entire game, and that's my biggest complaint with 3 of these bosses, is that instead of them actually being a cool or creative fight, all they are is just stuff I've already been doing, like an enemy gauntlet or a, you know, or just platforming. So like, we get on the train, skip, and then it's just platforming. You're just fighting enemies, and like, how is this a boss? This is just what I've been doing throughout the entire game. And I do want to like reiterate. I can't talk. I do want to like say that I do like this game. I had a fun time, but these 3 bosses are just like, why? I feel like, so like the changes I would do with this fight. The thing is, I came up with ideas on how they can make these, like, actual fights without changing anything. Like, or, you know, change stuff, just have there actually be fights. Like, you can keep, like, the whole chasing the train thing. For this fight, you can keep, like, the whole chasing the train, and, you know, you can keep this whole get to Mr. Krabs ordeal, you know, platform on a train. It's just when you get to the head of the train, have there be an actual fight. Like, don't have this be the boss fight, have this just be like a build-up for the fight, you know? So, like, you should get there, and then Mr. Krabs has all these cool attacks. Like, I had an idea for an attack where he's like, you know how trains have those furnaces? You could, like, have an attack where he throws coal into one of those furnaces, and there's like, and it just starts spewing fire because there's so much coal put into it. And you gotta dodge and weave all the fire. He could have like this whole, he could have like one of those like straw things Sandy had like when you first encountered her in the level. You know, she could have that. And it's just missed opportunity, man. They could have like done so much more with this, and they just didn't. And I just have to say, like, it was very disappointing first, a boss fight, you know. I would, but yeah, have him have, like, have him, like, use the straw thing Sandy had at, like, the Splatoon part when you first encountered her, as, like, a funny callback. Shut up, crap, no one cares about. So yeah, that's what I would have done. You know, just have, like, the fight take place at, like, the actual front of the train. The next fight I want to talk about, and this one is, like, probably the saddest one, because, like, so this night episode, or this medieval episode, is, you know, based off the episode where SpongeBob and Patrick gets transported to medieval times, and, like, Plankton... So, like, Plankton kidnaps Pearl with, like, a jellyfish dragon in the episode this is based off of, and SpongeBob and Patrick have to go, like, save her. And, like, why isn't the jellyfish dragon the fight for this world? Like, that was practically gift-wrapped to them, and they just did nothing with it. Instead, you fight this random witch lady who showed up earlier in the level, and I just have to say, like, why? You don't even fight her, it's just this stupid cake minigame, and it's just so anticlimactic. Like, why isn't the jellyfish dragon? Like, again, you don't even need to change much of the level, just like, when you get here, have her show up, and then she could, like, summon the dragon, the jellyfish dragon, with, like, a whistle or, like, a magic or something. And that would have been way better. It would have been, like, a much cooler callback to, like, that episode. It would have been, like, a cool callback reference to that episode. It would have been a cool fight, cool callback, but no, instead we get, this, whatever this is, and it's just so anticlimactic. I just don't like it. The boss, I just don't like these boss fights. Like, it's not a boss. You can't, like, look at this and tell me that this is a boss fight, because it is not. It's sad. It's definitely sad. Lady, can you stop, please? I don't have much else to talk about this. I don't have much else to, like, talk about this, so I'll probably just, like, just pause, go to, like, the next one, because this is pretty annoying, actually. I don't like this fight. It's not even a fight. Alright, I did it. It sucked. Anyway, so the final one, so this one, I had, like, a really cool idea for this one, and it's the fight, the fight with Prawn. So this one in particular is super disappointing because, you know, Prawn was a boss from Battle for Bikini Bottom. So the fact that they didn't actually take advantage of that by having him be a boss is super disappointing to me. It's, like, super disappointing. Like, all it is a gauntlet. It's just like an enemy gauntlet. It's just an enemy gauntlet, and that's, like, the laziest excuse for a boss fight you could have. It's just like an enemy gauntlet, which is, like, the laziest excuse for a boss, like, you can have. Like, that's not a boss. Why are you having it be a boss if I'm not actually fighting a boss? So, I had a really... I feel like I have a cool idea for what they could have done with, like, the prawn fight. Well, for starters, don't have it be an enemy gauntlet, because that's stupid. So, an idea I had is that they could have Prawn bring out Robot Squidward. For those of you who don't know, Robot Squidward was a scrapped boss from Battle for Bikini Bottom. That game has you, like, fight robot versions of iconic characters like SpongeBob, you know, Patrick, Sandy. And one of the bosses planned was a robot version of Squidward. But that was scrapped and there's just concept art for it. I feel like that could really, if like the boss fight of this was Robot Squidward, would have been like a really cool to see. Because for starters, not only would it have been like a callback or reference to Prawn being in the first game, but it also would have made up for the sorry excuse that was the whole multiplayer thing from Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, you know? And how they just half-assed Robot Squidward into that. It would be a cool callback, cool reference to like Prawn being in the first game, you know? I just feel like, and you know, an actual fight, cool fan service. Who doesn't love fan service? And it's just, I feel like that just would have been so much better. You know, and for the fights that are actually fights, they're alright. They're nothing like crazy. It's a SpongeBob game after all. But, yeah. So those are like my ideas on what they could have done to make these like actual boss fights. And in a cool way, you know, like have them, you know, have like actual callbacks to like the episodes, to the games, cool fan servers and stuff. And I just wish they, you know, actually, went with that. I just feel like that would have been cool. So I really don't have much else to talk about. I just want to like talk about these 3 bosses and how like disappointing they were to me. Because, you know, again, Battle for Bikini Bottom has some pretty great bosses. You know, fun bosses, and I just feel like they could have done more. And those were my ideas. Tell me if you think you have, like, if you have any ideas on what they could have done to improve these bosses. Maybe you have, like, another idea that's better? Who knows? Anyway, I'm, out of here. Thank you for watching.